If you've ever taken a shot at a college party or ordered a cocktail at a crowded bar, chances are you've encountered the clear, unassuming spirit known simply as Smirnoff. But behind that bottle lies a story most drinkers have never heard, a tale of royal favor and revolution, exile and reinvention, war and branding brilliance. This isn't just the story of a vodka brand. This is the story of how one family's name survived the fall of the Russian Empire, outlasted Prohibition, and ended up on the shelves of nearly every bar on Earth. Welcome to True History in Minutes, where everyday objects reveal their hidden past. It all began in 19th century Russia, Moscow to be exact. A city glittering with czarist opulence and shadowed by poverty, where vodka wasn't just a drink. It was culture. It was currency. It was power. Enter Pyotr Arsenievich Smirnoff, a poor serf who would become the unlikely father of a vodka dynasty. Born in 1831 in a time when the vast majority of Russians were peasants tied to the land, Pyotr was a man of unusual ambition. After gaining his freedom, he opened a modest vodka distillery in Moscow in the 1860s. At the time, vodka was harsh, often contaminated, and sold in clay bottles or barrels. Pyotr saw something different. He saw potential for purity and for branding. He began filtering his vodka through charcoal, a method that helped remove impurities and soften the taste. It was a technique already in use by some, but Smirnoff perfected it, making his vodka smoother than his competitors. But what truly set him apart was how he sold it. While others relied on traditional word-of-mouth or bulk sales to taverns, Smirnoff was a marketing genius ahead of his time. He paid beggars to loudly request his vodka by name in public. He bribed newspaper writers to praise his product. He even sponsored the Russian Orthodox Church, helping it distribute religious leaflets that, curiously, included praise for his vodka. His boldest move? Positioning his product as the Tsar's vodka. By 1886, Smirnoff's vodka was so renowned that Tsar Alexander III officially named it the purveyor to the imperial court of Russia, an honor that catapulted the brand into the highest echelons of Russian society. Smirnoff had become the vodka king of Moscow, selling over 4 million bottles a year. But no empire lasts forever. Pyotr died in 1898, leaving the business to his son, Vladimir Smirnoff. And just as Vladimir was hitting his stride, history intervened. In 1917, the Russian Revolution swept across the country. The Bolsheviks seized power, the Romanovs were executed, and anything associated with the old regime, including the Tsar's favorite vodka, was targeted. The Smirnoff distillery was nationalized, its operations seized by the state. Private alcohol production was outlawed. Vladimir had two choices: stay and watch everything burn or run. He ran. With little more than his name, Vladimir Smirnoff fled Russia. He would never return. But he took with him the secret recipe, the filtration method, and the dream his father had built. After bouncing between cities in Europe, Poland, Turkey, even France, he finally restarted production in Lviv, now part of modern-day Ukraine, and began rebuilding the brand under the French spelling, Smirnoff. But war, border changes, and the growing popularity of other liquors made it difficult for the exiled vodka to find a new audience. That is, until it crossed the Atlantic. In the 1930s, a savvy American entrepreneur named Rudolf Kunet, himself a Russian émigré, bought the rights to produce Smirnoff in the United States. He struggled at first. Americans didn't really drink vodka. It was still seen as a foreign curiosity. Sales were sluggish. That is, until Kunet caught the attention of John Martin, president of the Heublein Company, a firm best known for selling A1 steak sauce. Martin had vision. He bought the brand in 1939 and launched a marketing campaign that would redefine vodka in America. First, he labeled Smirnoff as white whiskey, a tasteless, odorless spirit with none of the burn or flavor of traditional liquors. Then came the cocktails. One bartender, working with Martin, mixed vodka with ginger beer and lime in a copper mug, and the Moscow Mule was born. It was refreshing, it was trendy, and it was photogenic. The copper mug caught eyes, and soon, everyone wanted one. Martin even traveled around with a Polaroid camera, taking pictures of bartenders holding the mug and posting them around bars to build hype. Vodka went from an unknown import to a cultural sensation. And Smirnoff? It became the face of that revolution. By the 1960s, vodka had overtaken gin in American sales. James Bond drank vodka martinis, shaken not stirred. Smirnoff ads ran with slogans like, "It leaves you breathless," and "Smirnoff leaves you breathless," capitalizing on the modern, sleek image the spirit had taken on. The brand that once ran from revolution was now driving one, in taste, in culture, in sales. But what few drinkers knew was that the Smirnoff they were sipping had no connection left to its Russian homeland. The Soviet Union had its own state-run vodka factories. The name Smirnoff was banned. Back in Moscow, the brand that once ruled the Tsar's table had been erased from history, at least officially. Meanwhile, in the West, it grew into a global empire. By the 1990s, Smirnoff was the world's best-selling vodka. It had outlasted Prohibition, 2 world wars, the Cold War, and the rise and fall of the Berlin Wall. It had transformed from a family-run distillery into a corporate giant, eventually owned by the British beverage conglomerate Diageo. And along the way, it adapted. Smirnoff launched flavored vodkas, ready-to-drink coolers, and global advertising campaigns. It became a staple of clubs, supermarkets, and wedding receptions. It found its way into hip-hop lyrics, college dorms, and billion-dollar portfolios. But through it all, the legacy of Pyotr and Vladimir remained quietly embedded in every bottle, charcoal-filtered, crystal clear, and born of reinvention. Today, few brands in the world, let alone in the liquor industry, have a history as dramatic, as international, or as unlikely as Smirnoff's. From the palaces of Moscow to American bars, from near extinction to global domination, its story is one of survival, branding genius, and the strange paths that history carves. So the next time you see a bottle of Smirnoff on a shelf or in your glass, remember, you're not just drinking vodka, you're tasting a revolution. If you found this fascinating, don't forget to like, subscribe, smash the bell, and turn on notifications for more untold stories from history's most surprising corners. Cheers to curiosity, and to the stories that linger long after the last drop. Do me a favor, only 9% of viewers are subscribed. If you're one of the 91% just passing through, why not make it official? Smash that subscribe button and help us reach more awesome people like you. Thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next episode.